Okay. Yeah. Oh, can you hear me? No.
Oh, can you hear me? Oh, sorry, I was muted, Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can hear you now, sorry.
Okay, cool. Right. Shall we move on?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Right. Abstract factory. Yeah, that's another one. The next one we're going to look at, right?
Okay.
The name, as the name says, is another factory method, right? So we have studied three factory methods, right? This factory as itself a factory method. Static factory, if you want to make something static so that you can call the class one, that is static factory method. And the next one is the abstract factory method. Yeah. It gets confused with the other two easily because this is also another factory method. So people get confused as in, which one is it? So the the explanation for that is it's nothing complicated here. The abstract factory is having a collection of factory methods. So if you ever want to create a factory inside another factory, then that's an abstract factory design pattern you're following. Yeah. So collection of factory methods means it's an abstract factory design pattern. Yeah. We'll see an example. But factory method will just
Yeah, no
create,
problem.
yeah. Factory method will just create the similar objects. Static factory will also create the similar objects, but in a static way. Abstract factory will have many of factory methods. So that's collection of creating similar objects by using collection of factory methods. So it's nested. Yeah. So that's why it's a abstract factory. Yeah. So we'll see where would we need that, right? In an example. So I've already created this. Imagine, right? I'll tell you a use case. Yeah. And see, this is where we will use it. So for an example, right? Imagine you're getting a server configuration, right? Um, think of it like, you're receiving this. Your workplace says, we want to receive some server configuration and create objects out of them. So say your server config is something like this. It will have port 900 environment is prod or test or something. Yeah. And then the address to access the server can be http dot 5900 or something, something like this. Yeah. Some information like this. Yeah. So what is it? Server configuration, right? Yeah. I agree. So something like this. So you open a
Yeah.
file, see all this, right? How do we design this? How do we create objects out of this? Right? That's what we're going to look at, and how we can use the abstract factory here. So in order to create this, right? So we can immediately see there are two types of data here. One is the server configuration itself and the properties. Yeah. Yeah. So they are the two data classes I can think of. So what is the server configuration has? It is having the list of properties. That's how I can break it, right? But the property itself has a name and a value. Yeah. Okay, let's create them then. That's it. Data class. I want the server configuration on creation to have list of yeah, I have the properties can be list of, let's say I have properties. Yeah. Yeah, but now we need to create the properties. But the properties will have, what is it?
Long
Name. Name, you mean?
Name.
Yeah. And what's the other one? This is the property, right? So it needs a name and the value to represent, isn't it?
Oh yeah, value.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, name and a value.
Yeah, that's it, right? So with those, yeah, with those, I can create a property, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I have these two, I can simply give the server configuration. Yeah. So how do we do this? So first, we want a function to create them, right? Um, so we'll name this as a factory. Yeah, this is because this is my factory method, right?
Right.
Yeah, abstract. In this case, this is the factory method to create the server configuration. The first one we studied, and we just want to create this. So in order to create that, I could, so right, so I will receive um the list of properties, isn't it? Yeah, so somebody will give,
Yeah, it's taken in a list of properties.
yes, correct. Yeah. Um no, actually this factory method will receive a string of that, isn't it? Something like this. A string will come in and we're gonna,
Oh,
yeah, or we can receive um um wait, thinking how to explain this well.
mhm.
Uh, yeah. Mm, yeah, so somebody will pass me. So whoever wants to call this, what will they tell me? They will pass me a string like this, right? And then we're going to work with that to create the server configuration with it. So the thing we'll receive here is the config file, config string or something, isn't it? Config text, which
Mm.
a string, pure string. Yeah. So when we receive that, we'll have to get the properties out. Yeah. Because yeah, so if we get the properties out of that string, then we could create the server configuration because it's the list of properties it needs to get, isn't it? It needs to have. Yeah. Yeah, let's write it and then we'll understand a bit more. So I'm receiving the string will look something like this. So if I want to ever call this guy, I will need to pass the string, but the string itself, the config string itself will look something like this. It will come with the port equal 900, comma, yeah, environment equals test, comma, and address equal something, same, give it the same value. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so the string will be something like this,
Right.
and we will pass it to this. So, yeah. So, right. So when I receive that, I would need to, yeah. So when I receive that, I'll need to give it to my factory method to create the server configuration. Yeah. So the string is coming, and now we studied how to take things out, right?
Oh
So
yeah, destructuring.
yes, destructuring. Yeah. But here we want to yeah, we want to split the string, the whole thing, by the commas to get each property out. Yeah. So it's going to be always the same. Yeah, there's always one property. Property is equal to config text, but split this by the comma. So at this point, so I'm splitting this by the comma.
Mm.
So it will be the list of properties, right? You know why? Because I mean there are three here, so it will split this
Yeah.
and that. So um, yeah, so it will become the list property
Okay.
list. Yeah,
Mm.
because if you want to know the type of that, we can do this. See, this is list of strings now. So it's splitted them in.
Hmm.
Yeah. So we got the list, and now um, yeah. Now what do we want to do? We have the list of properties, and um, yeah, yes. So we now need something to create the properties itself, because we have just got the strings, but not the property. Yeah, but we want the server configuration to be having the list of actual properties, this one. But here we got just the string, right? So in order to do that, I will have to create another factory method, isn't it? I think it's easier if we um, finish the coding and then explain. Um, so I want to create the properties um, with the string itself. Always text them. So, and then now here, I have got the text, and I'm going to check. Yeah, this is where we have to do the destructuring because of the property I'm receiving is this, but this has the both of them there, so I'll need to get them out, So first the name and the value is going to be go to property text dot, and I will need to split this by now by the equal. Yeah. So and then I can then say when now I have the name. So when the name equal to port, and create the property actual property. That is actually the property. That's just one property. Property with its name, it being the name,
Mm.
the
The
value,
value.
the value. Yeah, cool. So create the property. So now here I have the property list. So I'll need to construct the list now because I have the property list. But then this, yeah, so I'll need to go through each of them because this is in a string format for each. So it's the text of property text. And, create the property with that property text. And that will give me the property itself. Property. I'll need to add it to a list. So bear with me. I'll explain a bit more, right? Mutable list. Actually, I can just use the stuff property. Uh, uh, no, list any. What's that? Uh, this is a mutable list. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, sorry. That has to be a mutable list of to create a mutable list. But then what's this type is going to be quite mutable? Um, Find list. List of 110 to list any. Wait a second. Wait a second. Man. Oh, matter. It's confusing me. What's the problem here? It's a mutable list of. I need to Google it too. Hold on. what we're doing is right, but I don't know why. I don't understand why is it. Oh, no, don't want to clear anything. It's taking some elements first, you know. I think we're doing something wrong, man. And I cannot be able to see this. So the create property is, oh my gosh. Oh my God. See, that's why it's a problem when you're tired, man. Of course. I'm not returning the property here. Mm, just throw it. Yeah, that's fine. Did you see the problem? I see. I wasn't returning a property here, so he didn't know, what to add. Yeah, you with me? So right, okay. I'll go through this again, right? So don't worry about the code I'm writing now. So I'm building the properties, and then you can then create the server configuration with the property list. Props, yeah, or properties. All this properties, then yeah. And then environment, if it's environment, port, then the value will be to an integer, so to um, address, then we just do that. Oh, okay, okay, okay. Okay, I don't want to confuse you too much, to have another type of property here, but then don't worry about this. Just keep everything as strings. Then yeah, then bring everything to here. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Right. Okay. So we've done it. So yeah, Jason, Chai.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay. So what I've done is right. So yeah. So this is the main function. We will receive a string like this because we said, this is the server configuration file, right? If you read it, this is how we will get the string, and
Mm,
will be passed to this factory method. Yeah. So I need a factory method to create the server configuration because that's our task. The server configuration in this case, it has the list of properties. So in the end, we want to see the server configuration will have a list of properties. Yeah.
yeah.
It will have the list of properties, but the property in this case will be a name and a value. Yeah. So when I put this back, my factory method with that text passed in here, I would need to break it, right? So I'm breaking them by commas. So when I split them by commas, I'll get this, yeah, each of them, yeah.
Mm,
When I get each of them, when I get each of them, I want to add it to a list. So I'm going through each of them, which is a list itself, and I get each of them here. And now with that string, the string is just that, yeah. After the splitting, I'll need to pass into another factory method to create my property. So in the case if I receive the name, I splitted it further with the equal because then we're splitting this and that when I get each of them. Yeah. So the port value, the name and the value got splitted here. So I'll put them into the destructuring values. So the name and values are destructured here. And I then say when name, if it's any of that, then I create the property with the name and the value itself, because I know the name and the value. Yeah. If anything else, you throw the exception because I don't know what that is. I can simply say this is unknown or something. Yeah. So I'm creating the property here. So with the factory method itself, of the property, add it to the properties list because this is the mutable list of properties. And then now I've got the properties, which is the list, which is what I want to create the server configuration. So I can now create the server configuration with the properties list. But here, this should also return me the server configuration, right? So here you need to say return that. Yeah. So if you now run the main method, let's see how will this look. So this is my server config. Yeah, this is my server config, and if I print that, yeah, let's see. It looks like I mean it's created something like that, so we can read it. What is that? Yeah, there's a problem for us.
You iterating in the create server factory,
Yeah,
you're iterating where the for each is.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the bit I just a little bit fuzzy on.
So yeah, so we're receiving this text right here, and I've split them into a list because when I split that, that will put each of them into a list, right? By commas.
Oh, you into that property
List.
variable.
Yes, correct.
Oh, into the property list. Okay.
So this is that each one of that item.
Yeah.
And then that's the text I'm passing into this factory method. This is
Mhm.
actually another factory method to create the property itself. So what I'm receiving here is each one of them, which is this text.
Okay.
Further by the equal, then I get the value and the name by destructuring it here. Yeah. But
Mhm.
then now it's getting thrown to unknown. So let's see what is the property text we are receiving here. Yeah. So this is the way to debug if you're not too sure what that is. So what's the property text we are receiving? So some splitting is not correct, it looks like. Because this is throwing the unknown. Property text is port 900. So
I thought that's what we wanted.
yeah, correct. Yeah. So why is he not? So what's the name here? Okay, let's print the name. Yeah. So what's the problem? Name is equal to port. Then the next property text is environment.
You've got three in the when statement, you've got
Yeah.
three
Hmm.
strings.
I see the problem. Yes, yes, yeah, go on. Yeah, yeah.
And in the property, it's asking for two parameters. I'm not sure.
No, no, not really. See, this
No.
is this is not address, it's misspelled.
Oh, right. It's the
I mean,
misspelling.
so that's why it's throwing. So it didn't know what this thing is, when we passed it.
Oh, okay.
So it's thrown that, it should be fine now.
Oh, one little word, one little letter.
One little letter. Still throwing a problem. Address and address, yeah, is equal to,
Yeah, address is correct.
yeah. So we got the environment port, and then when we receive the address, it's gone wrong. What's the problem? ADDI.
Oh, yeah, environment. I think it's spelt wrong.
Is it? Yes, here as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
ENVIRO. Yeah, see that? Good catch. Oh man. Oh my, I need to wear my glasses as well. I'm tired. There you go. Right. So
Yes.
that's it, finally.
That's good.
So we'll create the server configuration with properties list. See, that's the list where every single property is now created with a class property. Name is equal to port, value is equal to 900. Second property in the list is name is equal to environment, value is equal to test, and so on. Yeah.
Oh, right.
This is what
Yeah.
we create. Right. So, but did you see that we have created a factory method to create the configuration? But to create the server configuration, we called another factory method to create the property. So this factory method is using another factory method. So we're nesting factory methods inside a factory method, which becomes our abstract factory. So this is not really a factory method because of it's using another factory method. This is an abstract factory. That's all it is.
Oh, an abstract factory. Oh,
Yes.
I did see this. Sorry, through.
Yeah.
You know, in the dependency injection class, when you're doing, I think is it retrofit?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then the retrofit builder calls another class.
Hmm.
I don't know, for some reason,
You
I'm
mean
getting
another
similar
factory?
vibes.
Is it calling another factory method to create an object?
It was basically in the module, I think it was in Hilt, where
Ah,
you had to
yeah.
build, you had to use the retrofit builder, but
Uh-huh. Hmm.
it
Yeah.
called something else. I can't remember, but
Yeah,
yeah,
that rings a bell. Yes. That's an abstract factory. Yeah, that's true. Because it's using another factory inside the factory to create things inside. Yeah.
yeah. I'm not sure if it was a factory, but I know it was calling
Mm-hmm.
another function inside of it for it to work, sort of
Sure,
thing.
sure. But if it's creating objects, that's a factory immediately. But if
Yeah,
the factory is using another factory inside, think of it like a car factory, but to build the doors, it calls another factory,
yeah, right.
thus then becoming series of factories inside a factory, right? So that is
Mm-hmm.
an abstract factory. That's why they named it as an abstract factory, because it
Oh,
uses other factories to create the objects needed to build the actual parent object.
okay.
Yeah, simple as that. Yeah, but this is a pattern. So the beauty here is we have split the things into their own factory methods to create the objects. So anytime I want to create a server configuration, this is the factory method to call. But inside that, it uses this to create the properties.
Properties.
But they are both of them are factory methods. But because of this has another factory method embedded into it, so it becomes the abstract factory method. Yeah. But did you see the way we were handling this? So, this is a given text in this format,
Mm.
yeah, and we received it. And in order to create the server configuration, we call the create server config factory with this text because it received the text here, which is the method I'm calling. Yeah, this one. See the text, which is this text here, and then we need to split them right by the commas to get the properties.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they are separated by commas here. Each property is separated by comma. So we split them. So we got this properties list. Once we got the properties list, we are looping the properties list. So each property will come out here. So And then I then have this as the string to pass it into this factory, yeah, to create a property out of that, which is going to create this, yeah. Whereas, if I now say, the name is any of that, create the property with the name and value, yeah. So it creates these, and it gives me the property created, and I'm adding that property into a list. So I'm just accumulating the items added into this list, yeah, because that's eventually becoming the list of properties we want to put it into the server configuration. So when I create the server configuration, I'll pass it in this property list. If you're confusing, we can give the types as well. List of, this is the list of property. So that's why this is property.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Then you don't need to type it there. Hold on.
It's missing.
Yeah. What went wrong? Oh, sorry. It has to be a mutable list of, yeah, because we're creating a mutable list of, so it has to be a mutable list.
Yeah.
The type itself, yeah. Because of why it's mutable list, because we can add items to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's just a simple list, it's a normal list, that's immutable by default. So you cannot call add into it. That's what happened just now,
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why they have this big separation in Kotlin. Anything you create, they can be either mutable or immutable. It's all up to you to choose which one you want. Here in this case, we're choosing the mutable list because we want to add things to it. By default, in Kotlin, if I create a list by calling list of in a string or something, this by default will be an immutable list. So I cannot call add into it.
Right.
Yeah, I can't add anything to it. See, this add won't work because of it's a list, but by default this is immutable. If you want a mutable version of it, you have to create a mutable list like that. Yeah.
Is all the data structures like that?
Yes.
They give you an option.
Yes, correct. All of them are by default immutable in Kotlin, but there is a mutable version as well. And if you ever want to mutate it, you have to choose the mutable types.
Right.
Yeah, in this case, the mutable list.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, to restrict any issues further down the line, because if something is immutable, there are more chances it could break because it could change at any time, because we are opening the doors to things changing. Is what I mean. That's why they've come up with these immutable versions by default.
Did Java have that?
No, you didn't have this separation in Java. That's why, again, this is good. See, the Kotlin is good because it forces the developers to choose what they want. In Java there wasn't any forcing like that. You can always create a list, and you can change it anytime and all that, because of the list in Java